Hi, I'm Jesse Barnum. I'm the president of 360Works, and I'm going to be showing you SuperContainer as used with FileMaker Go. SuperContainer 2.75 has just been announced, and this version is modified to work perfectly with FileMaker Go on the iPad and the iPhone. I'm going to be demonstrating it here on the iPad, and I will start. This is the demonstration file that comes with SuperContainer. I've loaded it with a bunch of example images and files, and I'm going to start by switching to the SuperContainer layout and showing you how it works. This is actually this is SuperContainer, the file that you see here, and this is using a web viewer instead of a regular container field to store these images. And the advantages of a web viewer is that it doesn't, first of all, this does not require any plugins. As you probably know, FileMaker Go does not run FileMaker plugins, but we don't need any plugins for SuperContainer because it's something that you install on your FileMaker server, and then all of your FileMaker Pro clients and as well as FileMaker Go can access SuperContainer through a web viewer. So this works perfectly with just the built-in features that already come in FileMaker Go. And as you can see, as I flip through here, these load fairly quickly. To show you a comparison, I'm now going to switch to regular container fields. Take a look at this image. It's going to look the same when I switch to a regular container field. You are going to probably notice that it takes a little bit longer to load. The reason these take longer to load is because when we're using regular container fields with FileMaker, they download the full resolution image. This is a 2 megabyte image, and as I flip through here, you'll see that these images have a longer delay before they flip between them. They look the same as the SuperContainer images, but what SuperContainer is doing is instead of downloading the full 2 megabyte image, actually these images are not even that big. These are 1.1 megabytes. This would be substantially longer if these were actually 2 to 3 megabyte images like you would get from like a 4 megapixel camera. What SuperContainer does is it detects the size that you're viewing them at, and it generates a thumbnail on the fly sized to that exact size. So instead of like 1.7 megabytes, you would get maybe a 30 or 40 kilobyte thumbnail, which is going to load much, much faster. Let me show you another thing while I'm here in the regular container view, is that I'm going to click this button 2 times, and what you'll see is that the second time I click it, it doesn't work. I get the gray spinner arrow. It'll eventually load the next container field, and now it's working to load the one that comes after it. You'll see that load in just a second. The reason that that happens is because FileMaker Go is single-threaded. Single threading means that it can only do one thing at a time. While it's loading that container field, you can't be clicking or typing or tapping or navigating between records. You have to wait for that to finish loading. Now I'm going to jump towards the end of this. I want to show you what happens to non-image files. So here I have a Word document. Again, this is still regular container fields in FileMaker. This is a Word document, and there's nothing I can really do with this in FileMaker Go. I can click on it. That does nothing. I can zoom in on it and see the icon closer. I can see the name of the file, but there's really no way for me to interact with this file. I'm going to show you also, here's a PDF file, and the same thing applies. I can tap it to zoom in, but I can't actually do anything with that PDF. I can't export that PDF because that's not a script step supported on FileMaker Go. And this is actually a movie file, and you can't play QuickTime movies or interact really at all with the contents of any container field in FileMaker Go. Now I'm going to jump back a little ways, probably going back to some images we've already seen, still in regular container fields, and what I want to do is switch to SuperContainer and just show you a comparison of flipping through these records. So these all load fairly quickly. There's still a little bit of a delay because we're not, this server this is coming from, this is not on the local network. This server is actually coming from a server at a co-location center, so we're accessing all of this stuff across a wide area network, and you can see that the performance is quite usable. And also notice that I can tap this several times and it'll just zoom to that right record and skip over all the others. So you don't have to wait for images and files to load in SuperContainer while you're looking at other stuff. You can just tap and it keeps going because SuperContainer is multi-threaded. That means it can do more than one thing at a time. Also notice that I have this open in browser button here. I can click Open in Browser to view this file at full size in the mobile Safari that comes with FileMaker Go. I can zoom in, I can scroll around to areas of interest. So these are all things that can't do these in a regular container field. Also, on my next image now, this is the same Word file that I had before, but this time I'm using it with SuperContainer. Remember when I clicked the icon before, nothing happened. Now when I click the icon with SuperContainer, it actually loads the Word file inside the web viewer, and I can read the contents of that Word file. I can also use the Open in Browser button, which just uses the Open URL script step to load that same SuperContainer file in the full-size Safari browser window. This is a Word document talking about sailing in San Diego, so this might be relevant for the upcoming developer conference. And I haven't actually left FileMaker. When I click Done, it just takes me right back to where I was, and I can continue working. Now I get to the PDF. Remember that when I looked at the PDF in the regular container field, all we saw was an icon. In SuperContainer, you get a thumbnail of the first page of a PDF. There is a restriction that only applies if you're running the SuperContainer server on a Macintosh. But the clients can be anything. They can be Windows, they can be Mac, they can be iPad or iPhone. And as long as the server is running on a Mac, you'll see a thumbnail of the first page of the PDF. Also, just like the Word file, I can open in browser and I can see this full PDF. This is many pages pulled down from our colocation center PDF, or the colocation server, to our mobile WebKit here. And I can scroll through all these pages and learn about developing for FileMaker Go. Last thing I'm going to show you here is the movie file. Remember again, the regular container field, there was nothing I could do with this movie file. In SuperContainer, when you click a movie file, it will load and play in either in the web viewer, or you can again open it in the browser to see the full-sized image. Actually, streaming video is a little bit tricky. It's not quite the same as the other types of files because, as I learned working on SuperContainer during development, the iPad makes multiple small requests with individual ranges of the file that it wants to download. And so you have to do some special handling on the server end to correctly stream these videos. But it's nice because it immediately starts streaming and playing. And so this is all stuff that you can access within your FileMaker solution. You can embed full screen video using SuperContainer. The last point that I'll make, which I didn't get a chance to talk about before, is that FileMaker Go does not support referenced container fields. So if you're using container fields in your FileMaker Go solution, they will only work with embedded container fields. So if you're using reference container fields now, you either need to switch to embedded container fields if you want to be able to access that database with FileMaker Go, or you need to access them in a web viewer like we're doing here with SuperContainer. So in conclusion, with SuperContainer, you'll have major speed improvements over container fields. You don't have to embed the files into your database, so your database can stay small like it would with reference container fields. You can view full-screen Word documents, PDF files, images, movies, and any other kind of file that can be rendered by the mobile Safari. And you can download a demo version from 360works.com/supercontainer. Again, my name is Jesse Barnum. I'm the president of 360Works. Thanks a lot for taking the time to watch.